Hello and welcome to my channel. In this section of the video, we are going to cover 10 practice questions that you should expect to have gone through before you take your PMP exam. So these are the practice questions which I've also created. However, my extra effort was to link these specific practice questions to pages or sections in the PMBOK edition 8, where you can also go and make reference in case there are some weak areas you've discovered as you practice. You can also make reference to the PMBOK, and then you can also get some explanations. So these 10 practice questions, they are also helpful because we are going to cover the question, and then we are also going to cover the answer, and then we are also going to make a reference to the PMBOK 8th edition, which is the current version, where you are going to be able to go through the concepts, the ideas, the domain, and also the process groups. So these 10 questions, they are going to be a mixture of easy, hard, and very hard questions. But I believe the moment you go through them, the moment you understand the concept of eliminating some of these answers, the better for you as you go to as you go to your PMP exam. So let's move on. Practice question number 21. Okay. So a scheduled activity is taking longer than planned. What should the project manager do first? Okay, so the question here is about first. So the difficulty here is easy. So a schedule, what is our problem statement? A scheduled activity is taking longer than planned. What should the project manager do first? Okay, so A is to assess the variance and determine the impact. Okay, makes sense. If you see the word first, assess, review, analyze, you're getting more information before you take action. Immediately fire the task owner. You don't fire people in a project. This is the wrong mindset. So we eliminate this one straight away. Tell the customer the project has failed. You cannot conclude that the project has failed because there is an activity which is taking longer. Remember, a scheduled activity is taking longer than planned. This is the issue. All right? So this cannot resolve the problem. Delete the activity from the schedule. You don't delete activities because they're taking long, thereby making A the best answer in this scenario. What is our reference? Our reference in PMBOK is schedule performance domain, which is on page 47. What does it say? Schedule. It says schedule domain focuses on planning, developing, monitoring schedule work is sequenced and also realistic. Then also controlled against agreed objectives. So what is our mindset that we're using to eliminate? You might have seen it. You need to understand the variance before taking any corrective action. This is very important. What you're supposed to do first is to understand, okay? Understand what is causing this to take longer than planning. Then you can come up with a solution, making A the best answer in this scenario because schedule control starts with analyzing variance and also impact. Okay. Right. Practice question number 22. A stakeholder requests more frequent updates during a critical phase. What should the project manager do? Okay. We are also considering the difficulty here to be easy. So a stakeholder requests more frequent updates during a critical phase. So is asking for frequent updates in a critical phase. Let us go through the answers now. Review and adjust the communication plan if appropriate. Okay. Because there's frequency. Okay. Makes sense. Refuse because the original plan cannot change. You don't refuse anything from a stakeholder. The best is to sit with the stakeholder, try to understand, and also adjust communications accordingly. So eliminate this one straight away. Send confidential team notes without review. There's nothing called confidential in the project management process. Everything has to be very transparent. So thereby eliminating this straight away from the mindset. Stop all communication. You don't stop communication to stakeholders in a project environment. Communication must be maintained throughout the project in a project environment. So eliminating this answer, making A the best answer in this scenario, you need to review and adjust the communication plan if appropriate. So what is our reference in the PMBOK? It's stakeholder performance domain, which is also on page 67. All right. What does it say? It says stakeholder domain emphasizes identifying stakeholders, planning engagement, communicating, managing engagement, and also monitoring both engagement and also communication. So what is the mindset that you used when you're eliminating some of these answers? You need to adapt engagement when stakeholder needs change. So stakeholders, they change throughout the project. And also their needs also changes throughout the project. So you have to make sure that you're adapting to that, making A the best answer because communication plans can be adjusted to support stakeholder confidence and also project needs. So making A the best answer. Right. Going through the practice question number 23. The team identifies a simple way to deliver the same value. What should the project manager do? Okay. And the difficulty here, we are classifying it as is. So what is our problem statement? Team is identifying a simpler way to deliver the same value. So what should the project manager do? Evaluate the idea and also pursue it through the appropriate processes. Okay. I like the word evaluate because you're getting more information. Reject it because it was not in the original. In the project management process, you don't reject anything before you understand it. So making this an incorrect answer. Tell the team not to suggest improvements. You don't block the team from suggesting improvements. Remember the mindset. The team is the team members are the ones who are the subject matter experts, not the PM. So making this incorrect answer. Implement it secretly without analysis. Everything should be transparent. So this way it is making this answer incorrect. Then making the correct answer to be A. So evaluate the idea and also pursue it through appropriate. Get to know more about this idea from the team because it's going to give the same value, but it's just it's a simpler way to do it. So you need to evaluate, understand it, and then allow the team to proceed. So what is our reference here is focus on value, okay? Principle. All right. What is the mindset that we're using to eliminate some of these answers is you need to protect value while using the right decision path. So in this case, there's a simpler way of doing things, all right, here, and it's giving the same value. So you need to protect the value. So evaluate the idea and also pursue it through the appropriate process, making A the best answer because the value-focused leadership considers better options while still following the governance, making A the best answer. Practice question number 24. A vendor delay threatens a milestone. What should the project manager do first? Okay. And the difficulty here is easy. All right. So a vendor delay is threatening a milestone. So which means the delay that is coming from the vendor might affect achieving a certain milestone. What should the project manager do first? Analyze the impact and review response options. Remember the mindset. I like the word review and analyze. You're getting more information before you act. Wait until the milestone is missed. Never wait for anything in a project. You're causing delays. So automatically we eliminate this answer. Cancel all vendor payment immediately. You don't just start firing people or vendors in a project just like that. You need to evaluate, understand what is the impact in terms of cost, in terms of time on the delays. So making this an incorrect answer. You cannot just cancel. Remember, you have contracts on this. Blame procurement in the lessons learned register. You don't blame people in a project environment. Try to understand, evaluate the problem, and come up with a solution. Making A the best answer in this scenario. You need to analyze, which is good, get more information, the impact, and review the response. You're also getting information when you review the response. What is our reference here? Schedule performance domain, which is on page 47 of our PM book. What does it say? Schedule domain focuses on planning, developing, monitoring the schedule so that work is sequenced, is also realistic, controlled against agreed objectives. So what is the mindset that we use for this? You need to analyze schedule impacts before deciding on corrective action. You need to understand the issue first. So in A, when you analyze and you also do a review of the response, you are understanding more of the issue, making A the best answer because the vendor delays require impact analysis, response planning, and not blaming, making A the best answer. Practice question number 25. A team member asks for a clarification on their role. What should the project manager provide? Okay. So what is our problem statement? A team member is asking for clarification on their role. So they are not understanding their role in this case. So let us go through the answers now. The agreed roles, responsibilities, and accountability information. What should the project manager provide? Supposed to provide this one. It makes sense. You are providing roles and responsibilities. A personal opinion unrelated to the project. This is not going to help the team member. You are giving personal opinions which is not related to the project, thereby eliminating this answer. No answer because teams should guess roles. In a project, you must clarify the roles to the team. They should not guess in any way, thereby eliminating this answer. The stakeholder register only. Giving the team member stakeholder register does not help in clarifying their roles. So this one does not answer the question, making A the best answer in this scenario. So you should provide agreed roles, responsibilities, and also accountability information for the team member to have some clarification on their roles. So this is the best answer. And what is our reference in our PMBOK? We reference performance domain, okay, which is on page 79. What does it say? The performance domain includes planning resources, estimating, acquiring resources, loading the team, and monitoring and also controlling resources. So what is our mindset? We need to clarify roles to support accountability and teamwork. This is very important as a project manager. Always clarify the roles to all your team members, making A the best answer because the clearer the roles and responsibilities, they help the team to coordinate and even perform better, making A the best answer. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe button, and the notification button so that you are the first person to be notified each time a new video is uploaded on this channel. It will also help the channel to grow. It will also help the channel to produce more videos like this one. Practice question number 26. Okay. A customer rejects a deliverable because a requirement was misunderstood. What should the project manager do first? Okay, so the main word here is first. All right. So, what is our problem statement? A customer is rejecting a deliverable. This is our problem statement because the requirement was misunderstood. So, there was a requirement which was misunderstood by the team, and therefore, the customer is now rejecting the deliverable. What should the project manager do first? A is to review the requirements and determine the corrective action. Okay, makes sense. I like the word review because it's first. First, you need to get more information. Tell the customer they are wrong. This is not the best approach to work with customers. Remember, you do projects for the customers, not for yourself. So you cannot just go to the customer and tell them they are wrong, making this an incorrect answer. Then C, close the project because rejection occurred. You don't close the project because there's rejection. You need to understand why is it the customer is rejecting a deliverable, making this an incorrect answer. Okay. Remove the customer from validation. The customer is the owner of the deliverable, so you cannot remove them from validation. They're the ones who are going to use the acceptance criteria to accept the deliverable, making this an incorrect answer. Thereby, A is the best answer in this particular scenario. You need to review the requirement and also determine the corrective action. This is very important. Before you take any action, you need to understand what is it the customer is complaining about. Why is it the customer is rejecting a deliverable? Or why is it true that the requirements were also misunderstood? This is very, very important. And our reference here is the scope performance domain in our PMBOK. Then what is our mindset? The mindset that we used here, or the best mindset for this scenario, is to use the requirements and the validation feedback to correct gaps. This is very important. When you give a customer a deliverable, they go through the acceptance criteria. They can give you feedback. Use that feedback to improve in the next cycle. So what is the best answer is A, because misunderstood requirements, they require review. You need to understand why they were misunderstood. They also require correction, and also it must be aligned with the stakeholder, making A the best answer. Practice question number 27. The project is closing. What should the project manager ensure? Okay, this is very important. What should they ensure? The difficulty here is easy, all right? The project is closing. So this is the last phase or the last process group that you should expect in the project management. So what should the project manager ensure? Deliverables are accepted and closure activities are completed. Makes sense, all right? All risks are deleted from history. You don't delete any risks in a project. You don't delete most of the records actually in a project. You can archive them for future reference, making this an incorrect answer. Lessons learned are ignored. Lessons learned are very important, especially when you are closing the project. You want to be able to be better in the next projects. So making this an incorrect answer. They cannot be ignored. This is incorrect. You have to capture them. Then stakeholders, they stop receiving final information. Stakeholders, they receive even the final report when they're closing the project, making this an incorrect answer. And in this scenario, A is our best answer. Deliverables are accepted and closure activities are completed. So if the project is closing, you have to make sure that the deliverables are accepted and also the closure activities they are also completed. What is our reference is governance performance domain, all right? And the mindset that is applicable to this particular practice question, you need to close formally and transparently. So this is very important. You don't just close a project. Whether it's terminated or whether it's closing normally, a project should be closed formally and also in a transparent manner, which means all the documentation is done. Making A the best answer because closure requires acceptance. It requires final records and also completion of agreed actions. Making A the best answer. Practice question number 28. A team member suggests using AI to draft a risk list. What should the project manager do? This is very interesting. So a team member, a team member is suggesting using AI to draft a risk list, which means they want AI to give them a risk list. Let's go through the answers and see. Use it responsibly with human review and appropriate data safeguards. Okay. AI can be used as a springboard. Excuse me. AI can be used as a springboard. Okay, and then you review. This one makes sense. Let AI make all project decisions alone. This is very dangerous. You see, any project environment must be based on the context of the project. So AI might not know the actual context as compared to human review. So making this an incorrect answer. All right. Enter confidential data into any public tool without approval. Confidential data cannot be in any public tool. It has to be approved first. So if you're not getting approval, that is against the ethics of project management. So making this an incorrect answer. You need to ban all technology from the project. You don't do this in a project. If there's a suggestion, you need to evaluate how is it going to add value to the project, making this an incorrect answer. So for this particular scenario, A is the best answer. Use it responsibly with human review. This is very important. AI can give you some answers which might not relate to the context of the project. So you need a human review to make sure that this is correct data that is coming in. So what is our reference in our PM book? It's our tailoring. What does it say? Tailoring adapts, okay? Development approach, processes, engagement, and methods, project management practice to organization and also project context. This is very important. Even if AI is going to give you the risk list first, you still need to make sure that it's also tailored to the context of the project. So what is the best mindset that you can use in this particular scenario? You use tools responsibly and keep human oversight. You still need some human intervention to make sure that whatever is coming from AI is actually correct. And making A the best answer. AI can support work, but the project manager remains accountable for quality, ethics, and also data use. Making A the best answer. If you want to understand more and to learn more about PMP mindset, I've created a full video on PMP mindset, about 30 mindset that you can go through. You can also watch it on my channel. I'll also leave a link in the description below. You can also download the 30 PMP mindset questions. I'll also leave a link in the description below. Practice question number 29. A project has stakeholders in different countries. What should the project manager consider? Okay. The difficulty here is very easy, all right? What is our problem statement? There are so many stakeholders in different countries. Okay, so let's go through the answers so that we see what to consider here. Cultural and communication differences when planning engagement. Most likely are going to have cultural and communication differences if people are in different countries. Okay, so we leave this one out. Communicating only one style regardless of audience. This cannot work. Different countries, different stakeholders, they have different communication needs, even communication styles. So eliminating this one automatically. Then C, ignoring the time zones because the project plan is fixed. You cannot ignore time zones. People in different countries in different time zones, they'll come to work at different times. So you need a way to coordinate and communicate with your team, thereby making this incorrect answer. Removing remote stakeholders from the project. You cannot just do this. This day and age, most of the projects are being delivered remotely. And you might have the skills that you want, which are existing remotely. So you cannot just go on and remove these stakeholders, making this an incorrect answer. And in this scenario, A is the best answer. You need cultural, okay? And you need to consider cultural and communication differences when planning your engagement. Remember, these are in different countries, okay? stakeholders in different countries. So the cultures and also the communication, it has to differ. All right. So what is our reference here? Our reference is a stakeholder performance domain, okay, which is on page 67. And the mindset that we're using here, you need to tailor communication on cultural, okay, to cultural and also stakeholder context. Communication cannot be one size fits all. It has to be tailored based on the culture and also the different countries that we are considering for these stakeholders. Making A the best answer because global stakeholder engagement requires consideration of culture, even language, timing, and also even access to those stakeholders. Making A the best answer. Practice question number 30. Okay. An issue is outside the project manager's authority. What should the project manager do? All right. And the difficulty here is easy. So, what is our problem statement? There's an issue which is outside project manager's authority. All right. So, this is our problem. There's an issue outside the project manager's authority. Let us go through the answers now. Escalate through the agreed governance path with facts and options. Okay. Makes sense. Because this is beyond the project manager's authority. So escalation might make sense so that you don't confuse escalate to sponsor without the issue on authority. All right. B, hide the issue from leadership. Never hide anything in a project. Always be honest and transparent, making this an incorrect answer. Change the project charter alone. Okay. Project charter, once it's approved, you cannot just go and change. It has to go through the change process. So this one cannot be the correct answer in this scenario. Ask the team to solve it without authority. Don't violate anything in a project or try to bypass anything in a project, including authority, making this an incorrect answer. So the best answer in this scenario is actually A, which is to escalate through agreed governance path with facts and options. Okay, so you go with your facts and options as you escalate. So you can see in this scenario, you have to escalate because it is beyond your authority. If you look at here, it is beyond your authority as a project manager. And what is our reference? Is governance performance domain, all right? And the mindset that is applicable to this particular scenario is escalate only when needed, okay, with facts and options. So there are cases where you don't need to escalate to the project sponsor or even steering committee or even senior management. But there are cases also where you have to escalate, especially if it's beyond the project manager's authority. And also, if it is something that requires approval, so you have to escalate on that. Making A in this scenario the best answer because issues beyond authority requires structured escalation, not concealment or unilateral actions. So this is very important. If something is beyond the authority, something requires approval, then it has to go through, it has to be escalated in a project environment, making A the best answer. If you want me to create more videos based on what we've gone through in this video, you can reach out to me or you can let me know in the comment section below.